My stepmom's voice still rings in my ears the day she convinced my father to throw me out of the house at 18. "He's not focused. He'll never amount to anything," she'd said, her manicured nails tapping against the kitchen counter. I was just home from my first military recruitment meeting, eyes bright with hope, ready to serve my country. Instead, I found myself on the street with 2 duffel bags and a lifetime of wounded pride. The small ranch house in Tucson had been my home, but it never truly felt like it. My stepmother, Elena Rodriguez, had married my father when I was 12, bringing with her a son from a previous marriage and a particular vision of success that didn't include me. Where her biological son Marco received encouragement and support, I was always the afterthought, the inconvenient stepson who didn't fit into her perfectly curated life. I remember that final night with crystal clarity. My father, a quiet man, who had long since stopped standing up for me, sat silent as Elena delivered her ultimatum. "Either he goes to college or he leaves," she'd said, her eyes never meeting mine. I had a different plan. The military had always been my escape, my ticket to something more. The recruitment office had been my sanctuary that afternoon, a place where someone finally saw potential in me. My name is Daniel Carter. I was 18 in 2005, a time when the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were consuming young men's lives and hopes. My stepmom saw my military ambition as a failure, a path beneath her expectations for her perfect family. "You'll just be cannon fodder," she'd said dismissively. But to me it was a calling, a chance to prove my worth, to become something more than the unwanted stepson. The night I was kicked out, I had exactly $287 in my bank account, a worn-out laptop from high school, and a duffel bag full of clothes. My father didn't even look at me as I walked out. Marco, my stepbrother, watched from the hallway, a mixture of pity and relief in his eyes. I could hear Elena's voice behind me. "He'll be back when he realizes how hard the real world is." But I didn't come back. The United States Marine Corps became my family. Those first few years were brutal. Boot camp was more than just physical training. It was a crucible that forged me into someone my stepfamily never believed I could become. I excelled in communications and cybersecurity, finding a niche that would change everything. By 2010, I was deployed in Afghanistan, managing critical communication infrastructure for my unit. The skills I developed weren't just about survival, they were about connection, about keeping soldiers safe through information and technology. Each mission, each successful communication link, was a silent reply to all those who had told me I wouldn't amount to anything. The military wasn't just a job, it was a transformation. Where my stepfamily saw weakness, the Marines saw potential. I worked countless nights, learned complex communication systems, and became an integral part of our unit's success. By 2012, I was leading a specialized communications team responsible for maintaining critical networks that saved lives and supported mission-critical operations. My technical skills grew exponentially. What started as a way to escape became a profound calling. I understood systems, networks, and most importantly, the human connections that made those networks valuable. Each line of code, each repaired communication line was a testament to the person I was becoming, someone far removed from the unwanted stepson Elena had tried to discard. When my first military contract ended in 2013, I had options. Top tech. Companies were recruiting veterans with my specific skill set, but something inside me wanted more. I had seen firsthand how technology could transform lives, how communication could mean the difference between life and death. I wasn't just looking for a job, I was looking to make a difference. Little did I know that the seeds of my future were already being planted. The skills I had developed, the resilience I had learned, would become my greatest assets. My stepmom's attempt to write me off would become the very catalyst that propelled me toward a future she could never have imagined. The boy she had thrown out was about to become someone who would change everything. The Marine Corps had given me more than just a career. It had given me an identity, a purpose, and a family that chose me, something my biological family had never done. As I prepared to transition to civilian life, I carried with me not just technical skills, but a network of brothers who understood sacrifice, loyalty, and the true meaning of family. Silicon Valley wasn't ready for me, fresh out of the Marines. With a portfolio of classified communication technologies and an MBA I'd earned during my final military deployment, I walked into interviews with a confidence born from years of high-stakes military operations. The tech world was different from the military, but the fundamental principles remained the same: adaptability, precision, and unwavering commitment. My first job came through a veteran recruitment program at Technova, a mid-sized cybersecurity firm in San Jose. They valued my military background, understanding that the skills I'd developed weren't just technical, they were about problem-solving under extreme pressure. Within 6 months, I was leading a team developing advanced network security protocols that would eventually become industry standard. Sarah, my team lead, recognized something in me that went beyond my technical skills. "You don't just solve problems," she told me during one of our strategy sessions. "You anticipate them before they happen." It was true. My military training had taught me to see systems holistically, to understand the interconnections that most engineers missed. By 2015, I had developed a proprietary communication security algorithm that caught the attention of several major tech companies. What they didn't know was the personal journey behind each line of code. Each algorithm was a response to the challenges I'd faced in Afghanistan, a way to protect those who serve. My technology wasn't just about encryption, it was about creating a lifeline for those who put their lives on the line. The night I received my first major patent, I thought about Eleanor. The woman who had once declared me worthless was now completely absent from my life. My father had tried to reconnect a few times over the years, but the wounds were too deep. I had built my own family, a network of veterans, tech professionals, and colleagues who understood the meaning of true support. Technova's leadership recognized my potential. Within 3 years, I was a senior director, managing a team of 50 engineers and overseeing some of the most critical cybersecurity projects in the industry. But something was brewing beneath the surface. The corporate world, much like my stepmother's carefully curated life, had its own set of politics and hidden agendas. My breaking point came during a boardroom meeting in late 2017. A new executive, fresh from a competitor, began proposing changes that would compromise the core security principles I had fought to establish. I watched as years of careful development were about to be dismantled for short-term financial gains. The parallels to my past were striking. Another attempt to discard something valuable for superficial reasons. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. I began documenting everything. Every communication, every proposal, every piece of technical documentation that proved the integrity of our existing systems. If they wanted to push me out, I would make sure my work remained protected. The confrontation was inevitable. During a heated executive meeting, I presented a comprehensive analysis that exposed the fundamental flaws in the proposed changes. My presentation wasn't just a technical takedown. It was a masterclass in strategic communication, a skill honed through years of military precision. These changes will create vulnerabilities that could compromise entire network infrastructures, I stated, my voice calm but firm. The room fell silent. The new executive, a young MBA graduate who had never seen a day of military service, shifted uncomfortably. I had just dismantled his entire proposal with surgical precision. Weeks of tension followed. I knew I was making powerful enemies, but I had faced far worse in the mountains of Afghanistan. My loyalty was to the technology, to the people who would ultimately depend on these security systems. I wasn't just protecting a corporate asset, I was protecting lives. The whispers started. Rumors of potential termination, subtle attempts to marginalize my role, but I had learned long ago how to survive when the world seemed aligned against me. Each challenge was an opportunity, each obstacle a chance to prove my worth. Little did I know that the seeds of my next chapter were already being planted. The very people who sought to push me out were about to discover that you can't easily discard someone who has already survived being thrown away once. As the year drew to a close, I received a call that would set in motion a series of events that would bring my past and present crashing together in ways I could never have anticipated. My stepmom's son, the same Marco who had watched silently the night I was thrown out, was about to enter my life again. The email arrived on a cold December morning, its subject line both unexpected and jarring. Daniel Carter, urgent professional opportunity, it read. The sender, Marco Rodriguez. I almost deleted it without opening, memories of that night years ago flooding back, the silent witness to my exile, my stepmother's perfect son. But something made me pause. Years of military training had taught me to never dismiss potential intelligence, no matter how unlikely its source. I opened the email, my fingers hovering over the trackpad with a mixture of curiosity and reluctance. Marco's message was a desperate plea. He'd followed a different path, business school, a quick rise through a mid-tier consulting firm, and now a spectacular professional nosedive. His current company was on the brink of a massive cybersecurity breach, and their internal teams were completely overwhelmed. Rumors of potential client data exposure circulated, threatening to destroy the company he had worked so hard to climb. I know we have history, the email read, but you're the only person I know who could help us right now. Our current security team is drowning, and I've heard about your work in network protection. I'm willing to do anything, pay whatever it takes. The irony was not lost on me. The son of the woman who had once declared me worthless was now begging for my help. I could have deleted the email. I could have walked away and let their company burn. But that wasn't who I had become. My military training had taught me more than technical skills. It had taught me about integrity, about rising above personal grievances for a greater purpose. I scheduled a video call, more out of professional curiosity than any sense of familial obligation. Marco looked different from the teenager I remembered. Years of corporate stress had etched lines around his eyes, his perfectly coiffed appearance now showing signs of wear. He spoke rapidly, detailing the potential breach, the vulnerable systems, the millions of client records at risk. We need someone who understands complex communication systems, he said, desperation evident in his voice. Someone who can see the entire architecture, not just individual vulnerabilities. I listened carefully, analyzing the technical details. He shared, the vulnerabilities were significant but not insurmountable. This was precisely the type of challenge I had built my career solving, complex system integrations under high-pressure circumstances. During our call, I realized this was about more than just a professional rescue. This was an opportunity to demonstrate the value of the skills I had developed, skills my stepmother had once dismissed as worthless. Each line of code, each security protocol I would develop, was a silent testament to my journey. My team at Technova had been working on advanced predictive security models, algorithms that could anticipate potential breaches before they happened. This project would be the perfect proving ground for those technologies. More importantly, it would be a chance to show Marco, and by extension, my entire former family, exactly what I was capable of. The negotiations were intricate. Marco's company would need to grant me full access to their systems, complete transparency and autonomy in developing solutions. No corporate bureaucracy, no half measures. They were buying not just a service, but expertise forged through years of high-stakes military communication work. As we discussed details, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought me here. From the teenager thrown out by his stepmother to a leading cybersecurity expert, each challenge had been a stepping stone. The military hadn't just been a career, it had been a transformation, a crucible that had shaped me into someone far beyond what anyone had expected. My team at Technova was skeptical when I presented the opportunity. "A personal project?" my chief of staff asked, raising an eyebrow. I explained it wasn't personal, it was professional. This was about demonstrating the power of adaptive, experience-driven technological solutions. The first week of work was intense. I assembled a specialized team, mostly veterans like myself, who understood the nuanced art of system protection. We weren't just fixing vulnerabilities, we were redesigning entire communication architectures. Marco watched our progress with a mixture of awe and desperation. Each breakthrough was a revelation for him, a glimpse into a world of technological problem-solving he had never understood. The systems we were developing would not just protect his current company, but would become a blueprint for next-generation cybersecurity. As we worked, Marco began to understand the depth of his previous misconception. The stepson his mother had discarded was now saving his professional life, developing technologies that would protect thousands of clients and potentially revolutionize an entire industry. The project was more than a professional engagement. It was a profound moment of personal vindication, a silent response to every doubt, every dismissive comment from my past. I wasn't just solving a technical problem, I was rewriting a narrative that had been written about me years ago. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a transformation that would extend far beyond a single cybersecurity project. The cybersecurity project for Marco's company became more than just a professional engagement. It was a catalyst for systemic transformation. Within 3 months, we had not only prevented the potential data breach, but had completely reimagined their entire technological infrastructure. The solution wasn't just about plugging holes. It was about creating a fundamentally more resilient system. My team of veteran technologists brought something unique to the table. We weren't just solving technical problems. We were approaching challenges with a holistic methodology learned through years of military service. Each team member brought a different perspective: a former Navy cryptographer, an Air Force communications specialist, a Marine network engineer. We were more than colleagues. We were a unit that understood the true meaning of mission-critical work. The breakthrough came during a marathon 72-hour development sprint. We discovered that the vulnerabilities weren't just technical, they were systemic. The company's entire approach to data security was fundamentally flawed. It reminded me of my military days, where understanding the entire ecosystem was more important than fixing individual components. Marco watched in amazement as we restructured their entire technological approach. "I've never seen anything like, and this," he admitted during one late-night strategy session. The irony wasn't lost on me. The son of the woman who had once cast me out was now witnessing the full extent of my capabilities. Our solution went beyond traditional cybersecurity. We implemented an adaptive security model that could predict and prevent potential breaches before they occurred. The algorithm I developed was so innovative that it caught the attention of major tech companies and government agencies. What started as a rescue mission for a struggling company became a potential game changer in the cybersecurity landscape. The financial implications were staggering. Marco's company not only avoided a potential catastrophic data breach, but became a leader. In proactive security solutions, their stock price tripled within 6 months. More importantly, they had developed a reputation for technological innovation that set them apart in a crowded market. But this was about more than professional success. It was a moment of personal reckoning. Every line of code was a response to years of being told I wouldn't amount to anything. The military had taught me that true victory isn't about proving others wrong, it's about proving what's possible. As the project gained momentum, I received an unexpected call from my father. It was the first time we had spoken in years. "I saw what you've done," he said, his voice laden with a mixture of pride and regret. I listened silently, years of unspoken emotions hanging between us. Elena, my stepmother, remained conspicuously silent. But through mutual connections, I heard she was aware of my professional achievements. The woman who had once declared me worthless was now witnessing my success from a distance. The project with Marco's company opened up entirely new opportunities. Government agencies and major tech corporations began reaching out, interested in the revolutionary security models we had developed. My veteran-led team was becoming a force to be reckoned with in the tech world. We established the Sentinel Technologies Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to supporting veteran tech entrepreneurs and providing cybersecurity training for at-risk communities. It was more than just a business, it was a mission. Each veteran we supported was another person given a chance to redefine their potential. The most profound transformation happened within Marco himself. As our project progressed, he began to understand the depth of his previous misconceptions. He started a veteran recruitment program within his company, recognizing the unique skills that veterans bring to the technological landscape. During a critical presentation to potential investors, Marco introduced me in a way I never expected. "This is Daniel Carter," he said, "the person who didn't just save our company. He redefined what's possible in cybersecurity." The room was silent, filled with the weight of an unspoken story. Our work began to receive national recognition. A feature in a major tech magazine highlighted our approach, calling our team the most innovative cybersecurity unit in the United States. The article detailed my journey, from a teenager thrown out by his family to a leading technological innovator. The veterans on my team became more than colleagues. We were a family forged through shared experiences, united by a commitment to excellence that went beyond traditional corporate boundaries. Each member brought a unique perspective, a depth of experience that traditional tech teams could never match. As the year drew to a close, I received an unexpected invitation. A veterans support organization wanted to honor me for my work in technology and community development. The ceremony would be a testament to the journey from being discarded to becoming a leader who created opportunities for others. Marco approached me after the presentation, a look of genuine respect in his eyes. "I never understood," he said quietly. "What you've built is more than just a company. It's a movement." I thought back to that night years ago when I was thrown out, my entire world reduced to 2 duffel bags and a wounded pride. The boy those bags contained could never have imagined the man he would become, not defined by rejection, but transformed by resilience. The story wasn't about revenge. It was about restoration, of purpose, of potential, of the true meaning of family and success. The invitation arrived on heavyweight cream paper embossed with gold lettering that caught the light in my home office. A reunion. Not just any reunion, but a gathering of my original high school class, 20 years after graduation. The irony wasn't lost on me. The same institution where I was once considered an afterthought now wanted to celebrate my achievements. My journey had taken me far beyond anything anyone in my hometown could have predicted. Sentinel Technologies had become a powerhouse in cybersecurity, with a unique mission of empowering veterans in the tech industry. Our work had caught the attention of major government agencies, tech giants, and international corporations. But success was never about the accolades. It was about the people we lifted along the way. The foundations of our success were deeply rooted in my military experience. Each veteran we hired brought something extraordinary to the table, a combination of discipline, adaptability, and problem-solving skills that traditional tech companies could never fully appreciate. We weren't just a tech company. We were a movement, a testament to the untapped potential of those who had served. Marco's transformation had been equally profound. The once dismissive stepbrother had become a genuine ally, working closely with our veteran recruitment programs. He'd even testified before congressional committees about the unique value veterans bring to the technological landscape. It was a redemption neither of us could have imagined years ago. As the reunion approached, I found myself reflecting on the journey. My parents had long since divorced. Elena had moved to Florida, her perfect family narrative gradually unraveling. My father, now retired, had attempted several reconciliation attempts over the years, each more awkward than the last. The week before the reunion, we received a breakthrough contract with the Department of Defense, a comprehensive cybersecurity solution that would protect critical infrastructure across multiple branches of the military. It was more than a contract. It was a validation of everything we had built. My team gathered in our main conference room, a diverse group of veterans from every branch of the military. Each had a story of transformation, of finding purpose beyond their initial military service. Sarah Rodriguez, our lead engineer, had been a marine communications specialist. Marcus Williams, our chief strategy officer, had served in Army intelligence. They were more than employees. They were family. The reunion was held at our old high school gymnasium, a place that held so many memories of rejection and uncertainty. As I walked in, the room fell silent. The same faces that had once overlooked me now looked with a mixture of awe and confusion. I was no longer the kid they remembered. I was a successful tech entrepreneur who had changed the landscape of cybersecurity. Elena was there, looking smaller than I remembered. Her perfectly coiffed appearance now showed signs of age, the edges of her carefully constructed world fraying. When our eyes met, there was no confrontation, no dramatic moment, just a silent acknowledgement of a journey she could never have anticipated. My father approached me tentatively, years of unspoken words hanging between us. "I'm proud of you," he said, his voice cracking slightly. It was the first time I had heard those words from him. I accepted them not with anger, but with a sense of completion. The reunion became an unexpected platform. When asked to speak, I didn't focus on my personal achievements. Instead, I talked about the veterans we'd supported, the lives we'd changed, the potential that exists in every person who's been told they won't amount to anything. Success isn't about proving others wrong, I told the crowd. It's about proving what's possible when you believe in yourself and your mission. The room was silent, filled with the weight of a story that went far beyond individual achievement. Marco sat in the front row, now a key partner in our veteran support initiatives. He introduced me to his own children, explaining the journey that had brought us from estranged stepbrothers to partners in a mission greater than ourselves. The Sentinel Technologies Foundation had become more than a company. We'd created a scholarship program for veterans, developed cutting-edge cybersecurity solutions, and built a network that supported those who had served. Each veteran we helped was another testament to the power of resilience, As the evening progressed, I was approached by my old guidance counselor. "We never saw your potential," she admitted, her eyes filled with a mixture of regret and pride. I didn't need her validation anymore. My worth was no longer defined by their limited perspective. The most powerful moment came unexpectedly. A young veteran approached me, sharing how our foundation had helped him transition from military service to a successful tech career. "You changed my life," he said. Those words were worth more than any corporate achievement. Driving home that night, I thought about the journey. From the teenager thrown out with 2 duffel bags to a tech innovator who had transformed an entire industry. The road hadn't been easy, but it had been worth every challenge. Elena attempted to approach me near the end of the event, but there was nothing left to say. The narrative had been rewritten, not through confrontation, but through achievement. I had built something far more powerful than any revenge, a legacy of support, innovation, and transformation. As I looked around the room, I realized that family isn't defined by blood or last names. It's defined by the people who believe in you, who support your mission, who help you become the best version of yourself. The boy who was once discarded had become something far more significant. Not just a success story, but a beacon of hope for those who had been told they would never amount to anything. The sunrise over San Francisco Bay painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, a backdrop to the most significant moment in Sentinel Technology's history. We were about to launch a groundbreaking initiative that would redefine how technology and veteran support intersected, a moment years in the making. Our headquarters was a testament to everything we had built. Unlike traditional tech campuses, our facility looked more like a hybrid between a cutting-edge research center and a veteran support hub. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the bay, but inside, the walls were adorned with stories. Photographs of veterans we had supported, timelines of technological breakthroughs, personal narratives of transformation. The past 5 years had been a whirlwind of innovation and impact. Sentinel Technologies had grown from a startup to a global leader in adaptive cybersecurity, with a unique mission that went far beyond traditional tech boundaries. We weren't just solving technological challenges, we were creating a new paradigm of professional development for veterans. Our latest project was our most ambitious yet, a comprehensive technology training and integration program that would support veterans across every stage of their post-military career. It wasn't just about finding jobs. It was about creating ecosystems of support, innovation, and continuous growth. Marco stood beside me during the press conference, no longer the stepbrother who had once watched silently as I was cast out, but a true partner in our mission. His transformation had been as profound as mine. He had become a vocal advocate for veteran support, using his business background to help structure programs that created real, sustainable opportunities. The morning briefing was more than just a product launch. We were announcing a $50 million investment in veteran tech education, a partnership with major universities and tech companies that would create unprecedented pathways for military veterans. Each program was carefully designed to leverage the unique skills veterans bring: discipline, adaptability, mission-focused thinking. Sarah Rodriguez, our lead engineer and a former Marine, presented our cutting-edge artificial intelligence system designed to help veterans translate their military skills into technological competencies. The algorithm could analyze a veteran's military record and recommend specialized training paths, potential career trajectories, and skill development opportunities. "This isn't about charity," I told the assembled journalists and tech leaders. "This is about recognizing the most underutilized talent pool in the United States. Veterans don't need sympathy. They need opportunities." The room was filled with a mix of veterans, tech leaders, government representatives, and media. Each had a different perspective, but all were united by a common understanding, the potential that exists when we look beyond traditional boundaries. Our keynote presentation walked through case studies of veterans we had supported. Marcus Williams, our Chief Strategy Officer, shared his own journey from Army intelligence to becoming a leading cybersecurity expert. His story was just one of hundreds we had helped transform. The financial implications were significant. Companies partnering with our program were seeing unprecedented returns. Veterans demonstrated higher retention rates, faster skill acquisition, and a unique problem-solving approach that traditional recruitment channels couldn't match. During a break, I received a call from a Pentagon official. They were expanding our contract, impressed by the comprehensive approach we had developed. What had started as a cybersecurity solution had become a national model for veteran integration in technology. My phone buzzed with a message from my father. He had been following the press conference, sending a simple text. "Proud of you." The words carried weight now, stripped of the complicated history that had once defined our relationship. Elena remained a distant memory. Her attempts to reconnect over the years met with polite but firm disinterest. Her narrative of my potential had been thoroughly dismantled, not through confrontation, but through consistent, meaningful achievement. The afternoon was filled with strategy sessions, meetings with potential partners, and discussions about expanding our global reach. We were no longer just a tech company. We were a movement that was changing how society views veteran potential. A young veteran approached me during a break, sharing how our program had helped him transition from military communications to becoming a lead developer at a major tech company. "You gave me more than a job," he said. "You gave me a purpose." Those words encapsulated everything we had built. Sentinel Technologies was about more than technological innovation. It was about human potential, about creating pathways where others saw only barriers. As the day wound down, Marco and I sat in my office overlooking the bay. "Who would have thought," he said, a hint of reflection in his voice, "that we'd end up here?" The journey from estranged stepbrothers to partners in a transformative mission was itself a testament to the power of perspective. Our foundation had now supported over 5,000 veterans in finding meaningful tech careers. Each success story was a ripple effect, creating opportunities for families, communities, and future generations of service members. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the office. I thought about the teenager who was once thrown out, who carried nothing but 2 duffel bags and a wounded pride. That boy could never have imagined the life that lay ahead, a life of purpose, of meaningful impact, of true belonging. As darkness fell, the office lights came on, illuminating the wall of veteran stories, each a testament to resilience, to the power of believing in oneself. We weren't just changing individual lives, we were changing the entire narrative of what's possible. The call came on a crisp October morning, unexpected and laden with decades of unresolved history. My father's voice was different, weaker, more vulnerable than I had ever heard it before. "I'm not well," he said, the words hanging between us like a fragile bridge spanning years of silence. Medical diagnosis arrived shortly after, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The prognosis was clear, the timeline brutally short. Months, not years. The man who had once stood silent while I was cast out was now asking for something he had never offered me: connection. I found myself navigating a complex emotional landscape. Years of rejection, of silent acceptance of Elena's narrative, had built walls that seemed impenetrable. Yet, something within me understood the fragility of human connection, the importance of moments left unsaid. My team at Sentinel Technologies understood immediately. "Family comes first," Sarah told me, taking control of my ongoing projects. The culture we had built wasn't just about professional excellence, it was about understanding the human experiences that shape us. The hospital in Tucson was a far cry from the sleek, modern spaces of our tech headquarters. Sterile white walls, the smell of disinfectant, machines quietly tracking the rhythm of a life drawing to its close. My father looked diminished, a shadow of the man who had once seemed so intimidating. Our first conversation was awkward, filled with long pauses and unspoken histories. He spoke about the years of regret, of watching my success from a distance, of the conversations he never had the courage to initiate. Elena had left him years ago, another casualty of her carefully constructed world falling apart. "I should have protected you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The words carried the weight of decades of silence. I realized then that healing wasn't about grand gestures or dramatic confrontations. It was about understanding, about seeing the human vulnerability behind past actions. Marco surprised me by showing up at the hospital. The stepbrother who had once been a silent witness had become a genuine ally. He brought medical resources, connected us with specialists, demonstrated a level of support that transcended our complicated family history. Our conversations began to reveal a more complex narrative. My father shared stories about his own challenges, a man trapped between his wife's ambitions and his own quiet disappointment. Elena had been a force of nature, someone who constructed narratives and expected everyone to conform. The Sentinel. Technology's foundation became instrumental in our family's healing. We began a specialized program supporting families of veterans, understanding that the journey of service and recovery extends far beyond the individual. It was a direct response to the fragmentation we had experienced. Medical treatments became a collaborative effort. Marco used his business connections to explore experimental treatments. I leveraged our technological resources to connect with leading medical researchers. For the first time, we were a family united by a common purpose. My father's condition became a catalyst for deeper conversations about legacy, about the stories we tell ourselves and others. He spoke about his regrets, about the missed opportunities, about the fear that had prevented him from standing up for me years ago. "I was afraid of losing everything," he admitted during one of our conversations. Elena made it seem like challenging her would destroy our family. The irony was profound. In trying to preserve a version of family, he had ultimately lost something far more valuable. The medical team was surprised by his resilience. The combination of experimental treatments, our technological support systems, and a newfound family connection seemed to defy traditional expectations. Hope, we discovered, had its own kind of medical potency. Our work at Sentinel Technologies took on a new dimension. We expanded our healthcare technology division, focusing on personalized medical support systems. Each innovation was now deeply personal, informed by our family's journey of reconnection and healing. Marco and I found ourselves having conversations that would have been unimaginable years ago. We discussed family, purpose, the complex narratives that shape human experiences. Our stepbrother relationship had transformed into a genuine partnership, built on mutual respect and shared understanding. Elena remained a distant memory. The last we had heard, she had moved to a retirement community in Florida, her carefully constructed world now reduced to its essential fragility. Her attempts to reconnect had been met with polite but firm disinterest. The medical journey became a metaphor for our larger work. Just as we were helping veterans rebuild their lives, we were also reconstructing our own family narrative. Each treatment, each conversation was an act of restoration. My father's doctors were amazed by his progress. The combination of cutting-edge medical technology, personalized support systems, and renewed family connection created possibilities they had never anticipated. We were rewriting not just a family story, but challenging fundamental assumptions about healing. As weeks turned into months, our connection deepened. He became involved with the Sentinel Technologies Foundation, sharing his experiences with families of veterans. His perspective, of someone who had witnessed the complexities of sacrifice and redemption, became a powerful narrative thread. The foundation launched a new initiative supporting families of veterans, inspired directly by our journey. It wasn't just about professional support, but about understanding the intricate human ecosystems that surround every individual's story of service and transformation. One quiet evening, as we sat watching the sunset from his hospital room, my father looked at me with a clarity that transcended his medical condition. "You've done more than succeed," he said. "You've created something that matters." In that moment, I understood that true victory wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about creating pathways of understanding, about transforming pain into purpose, about building something larger than ourselves. Our story was still being written, a testament to the power of resilience, of seeing beyond the narratives others construct for us, of finding connection in the most unexpected places. The United Nations headquarters in New York felt different from any space I had previously occupied. Sleek, international, filled with representatives from around the world, a far cry from the warehouse in Seattle, where I had first written the code that would change everything. We were about to present a global initiative that would redefine how technology could support veterans worldwide. Sentinel Technologies had evolved beyond a cybersecurity firm. We had become a global platform for veteran empowerment, our reach extending far beyond the borders of the United States. The past decade had transformed us from a startup to an international movement, bridging technological innovation with human potential. Our presentation focused on a groundbreaking program that would create technological infrastructure support for veterans in conflict-affected regions. Countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, and various African nations would receive not just technological resources, but comprehensive support systems that could help veterans rebuild their lives. Marco stood beside me, no longer the stepbrother who had once watched silently, but a key strategist in our global veteran support network. His business acumen had become instrumental in creating sustainable models of support that went beyond traditional charitable approaches. The room was filled with an unprecedented coalition: military leaders, technology experts, humanitarian organizations, and government representatives from over 40 countries. What we were proposing was more than a technological solution. It was a complete reimagining of how society supports those who have served. Our data visualization showed something remarkable. Veterans who received our integrated support system, combining technological training, mental health resources, and economic opportunities, demonstrated a 300% improvement in long-term career stability and personal well-being. Numbers that told a story far beyond statistical analysis. I thought about my own journey as I presented, from the teenager thrown out with 2 duffel bags to standing in the United Nations, proposing a global veteran support strategy. The narrative arc was almost unbelievable, a testament to the power of resilience and vision. The technological platform we had developed was revolutionary. An adaptive system that could translate military skills into technological competencies across different cultural and linguistic contexts. It wasn't just about job placement, it was about fundamental human empowerment. Our mental health division had become equally significant. We had developed AI-driven support systems that could provide culturally sensitive mental health resources to veterans globally. The technology could detect subtle linguistic and behavioral cues, offering personalized support that traditional methods missed. During a break, I received a video call from my father. His health had stabilized thanks to the medical technologies. we had developed. He was now working with our foundation, sharing his experiences with veteran families. The transformation was complete, from a silent observer to an active participant in our mission. The afternoon session delved into our most ambitious project yet, a satellite-based communication network specifically designed to support veterans in remote and conflict-affected regions. The technology could provide educational resources, mental health support, and economic opportunities to veterans who had been completely disconnected. Representatives from conflict zones shared powerful testimonials. A veteran from Syria who had used our platform to restart his engineering career. A former soldier from Colombia who had developed a community support network using our technological infrastructure. Each story was a testament to human resilience. Our partnership with international educational institutions had created unprecedented pathways. We weren't just offering training, we were creating entire ecosystems of support. Universities from Europe, Asia, and the Americas had integrated our veteran support models into their existing programs. The economic impact was substantial. Companies that had adopted our veteran integration models reported higher innovation rates, improved problem-solving capabilities, and more resilient organizational cultures. Veterans weren't just employees, they were transformative organizational assets. Marco shared insights from our corporate partnerships. Major technology companies were now competing to implement our veteran support models. What had started as our unique approach was becoming a global standard for workforce integration. The day concluded with a standing ovation, something I would have found unimaginable years ago. The same world that had once dismissed veterans as potential liabilities now recognized them as critical drivers of innovation and social progress. As we prepared to leave, a young veteran from Afghanistan approached me. "You've given us more than opportunities," she said. "You've given us a voice." Those words encapsulated everything we had built, a platform that transformed potential into purpose. Our foundation had now supported over 50,000 veterans globally, creating a network that transcended national boundaries. Each success story was a ripple effect, creating opportunities for families, communities, and future generations of service members. The evening reception was a celebration of human potential. Veterans from different countries, different conflicts, united by a common experience of service and transformation. Our technology had become the bridge, connecting stories of resilience from around the world. I thought about Elena, about the stepmother who had once declared me worthless. Her narrative of limitation had been thoroughly dismantled, not through confrontation, but through consistent, meaningful achievement that extended far beyond individual success. As the New York skyline lit up outside, I realized our journey was about something far more significant than personal vindication. We were rewriting global narratives about service, about potential, about the extraordinary capabilities that exist when we look beyond traditional limitations. The next morning would bring new challenges, new opportunities to transform lives. But in this moment, surrounded by a global community, united by a vision of support and empowerment, everything felt possible. Our story was still being written, a living testament to the power of resilience, of seeing beyond the narratives others construct, of building something larger than ourselves. The mountain cabin in Colorado felt like a sanctuary, a place of reflection far removed from the global stages and technological innovations that had defined recent years. I had learned the importance of stepping back, of finding moments of stillness amidst the constant motion of our mission. 15 years had passed since that pivotal moment when I was thrown out, 2 duffel bags in hand. The journey had been extraordinary, from a rejected stepson to a global technology leader who had fundamentally transformed how society supports veterans. Yet the most profound transformations were often the most personal. My father's passing 6 months earlier had brought a different kind of closure. In his final years, he had become not just a supporter of our mission, but an active participant. The Sentinel Technologies Foundation had established a program in his name, supporting families of veterans in navigating personal and professional transitions. Marco arrived with coffee, a ritual we had developed over the years. The stepbrother who had once been a silent witness had become my closest ally, our relationship a testament to the power of understanding and redemption. We sat on the cabin's deck, overlooking the snow-capped mountains, discussing our latest global initiatives. "We're expanding into 3 new countries next quarter," Marco said, reviewing digital reports on his tablet. Our conversation flowed between professional updates and personal reflections, a comfortable rhythm we had developed over years of collaboration. The mental health division of our foundation had become particularly significant. We had developed AI-driven support systems that could provide personalized, culturally sensitive mental health resources to veterans globally. It was more than technology. It was a holistic approach to healing and empowerment. I thought about Elena, my stepmother, who had faded into irrelevance. Her attempts to reconnect over the years had been met with polite disinterest. The narrative she had constructed about my potential had been thoroughly dismantled, not through confrontation, but through consistent, meaningful achievement. Our latest project was our most ambitious yet, a comprehensive global network that could provide real-time support to veterans in conflict and post-conflict zones. Satellite communication systems, adaptive learning platforms, economic integration, programs. We were building an ecosystem of support that transcended traditional boundaries. The cabin held memories. It was here that I had often come to reflect, to process the extraordinary journey from rejection to global impact. Each visit was a moment of recalibration, of understanding the deeper meanings behind our work. Sarah Rodriguez, our lead engineer and a former Marine, joined us for lunch. She was now leading our most advanced technological initiatives, a living testament to the potential that exists when veterans are given genuine opportunities. Her story was just one of thousands we had supported. We discussed the upcoming congressional testimony about veteran support technologies. Our foundation had become a critical voice in national conversations about veteran integration, mental health, and technological empowerment. What had started as a personal journey had become a global movement. The afternoon was spent reviewing case studies, veterans who had transformed their lives through our programs. A former Army communications specialist who was now leading cybersecurity innovations in Southeast Asia. A veteran from rural America who had developed community support networks using our technological platforms. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the mountain landscape, I received a call from the White House. Our veteran support model was being considered as a potential national strategy. The irony was not lost on me. The boy who was once discarded was now being consulted at the highest levels of government. Marco and I spoke about our father during dinner. His final years had been filled with purpose, working with our foundation, sharing his experiences with veteran families. The transformation was complete, from a silent observer to an active participant in our mission of support and empowerment. Our conversation drifted to personal reflections. The journey hadn't been about proving others wrong, but about creating pathways of opportunity. Each technology we developed, each program we implemented, was a response to the limitations others had tried to impose. The evening brought a sense of profound contentment. We were no longer just a technology company or a foundation. We had become a global movement that was fundamentally changing how society views veterans, not as victims or challenges, but as critical assets with extraordinary potential. I thought about the young veteran who had approached me at the United Nations, saying, "We had given them more than opportunities, we had given them a voice." That sentiment captured the essence of our work, the true measure of our impact. As night fell, the mountain cabin felt like a metaphor for our journey, a place of stillness that contained within it the potential for extraordinary transformation. We had built something far larger than a company or a foundation. We had created a new narrative of human potential. The global veteran support network we had developed now spanned over 60 countries. Millions of veterans had found support, opportunity, technological training, mental health resources. Each success story was a ripple effect, creating opportunities for families, communities, future generations. Marco shared updates about our upcoming initiatives, technological platforms that could provide real-time skill translation for veterans, adaptive learning systems that could help veterans navigate professional transitions, economic integration programs that went beyond traditional job placement. Sitting there, surrounded by the quiet beauty of the mountains, I understood that our story was still being written, a living testament to the power of resilience, of seeing beyond the narratives others construct, of building something larger than individual success. The cabin's fireplace crackled, casting warm shadows. Another day of reflection, of planning, of continuing a mission that had begun with 2 duffel bags and a wounded pride. We were still moving forward, still transforming possibilities, still believing in the extraordinary potential that exists. When we choose understanding over limitation, the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony in Oslo was a culmination of a journey that had begun decades ago in a small Seattle warehouse, in a moment of rejection and uncertainty. Sentinel Technologies had been nominated for their groundbreaking work in veteran support, technological innovation, and global humanitarian efforts. As I stood on the stage, looking out over the assembled dignitaries, diplomats, and international leaders, I thought about the boy who was once thrown out with 2 duffel bags, a moment that seemed like a complete ending, but was actually just the beginning of an extraordinary transformation. Our work had evolved far beyond technological innovation. We had created a global ecosystem that reimagined how society supports, integrates, and empowers veterans. The platform we had developed wasn't just about job placement or technical training. It was a comprehensive approach to human potential, to healing, to rebuilding lives across global boundaries. Marco stood in the front row, our journey from estranged stepbrothers to global partners, a testament to the power of understanding and redemption. The same person who had once silently watched me being cast out was now a key architect of our global veteran support network. The citation read like a culmination of our entire mission, for demonstrating extraordinary commitment to human potential, for creating technological platforms that transform lives, for building bridges of understanding across global communities. Words that captured something far more profound than technological achievement. My acceptance speech wasn't about individual accomplishment. It was about collective potential, about the extraordinary capabilities that exist when we look beyond traditional limitations. I spoke about veterans not as victims or challenges, but as critical assets with transformative potential. Every veteran has a story, I said, my voice carrying across the hall. And every story contains the potential to change the world. The room was silent, filled with the weight of understanding that had taken decades to build. I thought about Elena, my stepmother, who had tried to define my potential through her limited perspective. Her narrative of limitation had been thoroughly dismantled, not through confrontation, but through consistent, meaningful achievement that extended far beyond individual success. Our foundation had now supported over 100,000 veterans globally. We had created technological platforms that provided comprehensive support, mental health resources, skill translation, economic integration, educational opportunities. Each success story was a ripple effect, creating opportunities for families, communities, future generations. The technological innovations we had developed were revolutionary. Adaptive AI systems that could translate military skills into technological competencies across different cultural and linguistic contexts. Satellite-based communication networks that provided real-time support in conflict and post-conflict zones. Mental health platforms that offered personalized, culturally sensitive support. Sarah Rodriguez, our lead engineer and a former Marine, stood among the international delegation. Her journey from military communications specialist to global technology leader was just one of thousands of transformative stories we had supported. She had become a living testament to the potential that exists when we provide genuine opportunities. During the reception, veterans from around the world approached me. A former soldier from Colombia who had developed community support networks. A veteran from Afghanistan who had become a leading technological innovator. Each story was a powerful reminder of our mission's impact. The global veteran support network we had developed now spanned over 75 countries. We had fundamentally changed how societies view veterans, not as challenges to be managed, but as critical assets with extraordinary potential. Governments, educational institutions, and corporations were now adopting our holistic support models. My father's memory was present in everything we did. In his final years, he had become not just a supporter of our mission, but an active participant. The Foundation had established a program in his name, supporting families of veterans in navigating personal and professional transitions. Marco shared insights about our upcoming initiatives. Technological platforms that could provide real-time skill translation, adaptive learning systems to help veterans navigate professional transitions, economic integration programs that went beyond traditional job placement. The evening brought a sense of profound accomplishment. We were no longer just a technology company or a foundation. We had become a global movement that was fundamentally changing how society views human potential, starting with veterans, but extending far beyond. International. Media coverage focused not just on our technological achievements, but on the human stories behind our work. How a platform could transform individual lives, rebuild communities, create pathways of opportunity where none existed before. As the ceremony concluded, I received messages from veterans around the world, each one a testament to the power of our mission. "You gave us more than opportunities," one message read. "You gave us a voice, a vision of what's possible." The Nobel Committee had recognized something profound, that true innovation isn't about technology, but about human potential. Our work demonstrated that when we provide genuine support, genuine opportunities, extraordinary transformations become possible. Sitting in the quiet of my hotel room later that evening, I reflected on the journey. From a teenager thrown out, with 2 duffel bags, to standing on a global stage recognized for transforming lives. The narrative arc was almost unbelievable, a testament to the power of resilience and vision. Marco joined me, and we spoke about our father, about the complex family history that had ultimately led us to this moment. "He would have been proud," Marco said. And in that moment, I understood that our story was about something far more significant than personal vindication. We were still moving forward, still transforming possibilities, still believing in the extraordinary potential that exists when we choose understanding over limitation. Our story was still being written, a living testament to the power of resilience, of seeing beyond the narratives others construct, of building something larger than ourselves. As the Oslo night settled around us, I knew our mission was far from complete. There were more lives to transform, more potential to unlock, more bridges to build. The journey continues, one veteran, one story at a time. The research facility overlooking Lake Michigan was more than just a technological hub. It was a living testament to our journey. 25 years after that moment of rejection, Sentinel. Technologies had become a global beacon of hope, innovation, and veteran empowerment. Our latest project was our most ambitious yet, a comprehensive neural interface technology designed specifically to support veterans with physical and cognitive challenges. It wasn't just about technological innovation. It was about restoring human potential, about giving voice and agency to those who had sacrificed everything. Marco stood beside me during the morning briefing, reviewing holographic displays that mapped out our most complex research to date. The stepbrother who had once been a silent witness had become not just a partner, but a critical architect of our vision. His business acumen, combined with our technological innovations, had created something truly transformative. Sarah Rodriguez, now our Chief Innovation Officer, presented the preliminary findings. A veteran who had lost mobility in combat could now control advanced prosthetic systems with unprecedented precision. Each breakthrough was more than a technological achievement. It was a restoration of human dignity. I thought about the journey that had brought us here. From the teenager thrown out with 2 duffel bags to leading a global innovation center that was fundamentally changing how society supports veterans. The narrative arc was a testament to the power of resilience, of seeing potential where others saw limitation. Our foundation had now supported over 250,000 veterans globally. The ecosystem we had created went far beyond job placement or technical training. We had developed comprehensive support systems that addressed mental health, economic integration, technological training, and personal development. The morning strategy session revealed the depth of our impact. Governments from 87 countries now used our veteran support models. Educational institutions had integrated our adaptive learning platforms. Corporations were competing to implement our veteran recruitment and integration strategies. A breakthrough. In our neural interface, technology promised to revolutionize support for veterans with traumatic brain injuries. The system could not just assist with mobility and communication, but could help rebuild neural pathways, offering hope where traditional medicine had seen only limitations. Marco shared updates about our global partnerships. We were expanding into regions that had previously been overlooked. Conflict zones in Africa, remote communities in South America, areas where veterans had been traditionally marginalized. Our technology was becoming a global language of support and empowerment. The facility itself was a marvel of sustainable design. Solar-powered, built using technologies developed by veterans, constructed to be a living example of the potential that exists when we provide genuine opportunities. Every aspect of the building told a story of transformation. During a break, I received a video call from a veteran we had supported years ago. She was now leading a humanitarian technology initiative in Southeast Asia, using the skills and support she had received through our foundation. Each success story was a ripple effect, creating opportunities for future generations. Our mental health division had become a global model. AI-driven support systems could now provide personalized, culturally sensitive mental health resources. The technology could detect subtle linguistic and behavioral cues, offering support that traditional methods missed. Elena, my stepmother, had long since faded into irrelevance. Her attempts to reconnect over the years had been met with polite disinterest. The narrative she had constructed about my potential had been thoroughly dismantled. Not through confrontation, but through consistent, meaningful achievement. The afternoon was dedicated to our youth mentorship program. Veterans who had gone through our support system were now mentoring the next generation, creating a continuous cycle of support and empowerment. We weren't just supporting individual veterans. We were building a global community. A documentary team was filming our work, capturing the human stories behind the technological innovations. Interviews with veterans who had transformed their lives, who had found purpose and potential through our support systems. Each story was a powerful testament to human resilience. My father's memory was present in everything we did. The foundation program established in his name had supported thousands of veteran families, helping them navigate personal and professional transitions. His final years had been filled with purpose, working alongside us to create meaningful change. As the day wound down, Sarah shared a breakthrough in our adaptive learning platform. The AI system could now provide real-time skill translation for veterans across multiple languages and cultural contexts. It wasn't just about job placement, it was about understanding individual potential. The global veteran support network we had developed now spanned over 100 countries. We had fundamentally changed how societies view veterans, not as challenges to be managed, but as critical assets with extraordinary potential. Governments, educational institutions, and corporations were adopting our holistic support models. Marco and I reflected on our journey during an evening walk around the facility. The same person who had once silently watched me being cast out was now a key architect of a global movement that was transforming lives. Our relationship was a testament to the power of understanding and redemption. International recognition had become secondary to our true mission. The Nobel Peace Prize, while significant, was just a milestone in a much larger journey. Our work was about something far more profound, about human potential, about creating pathways of opportunity where none existed before. As the sun set over Lake Michigan, casting long shadows across our facility, I understood that our story was still being written, a living testament to the power of resilience, of seeing beyond the narratives others construct, of building something larger than individual success. The neural interface technology hummed softly in the research lab, prototypes that represented hope, restoration, potential. Each device a silent promise that limitations are often just narratives waiting to be rewritten. We were still moving forward, still transforming possibilities, still believing in the extraordinary potential that exists when we choose understanding over limitation. Our mission continues, one veteran, one story at a time. The final chapter of our journey wasn't about endings, but about continuation. 30 years after that pivotal moment when I was thrown out with 2 duffel bags, Sentinel Technologies had become more than a company. It was a global movement of human potential, of veteran empowerment, of transformative possibility. Our annual global conference brought together veterans, technology leaders, government representatives, and innovators from every corner of the world. What had started as a personal mission had become a global ecosystem of support, innovation, and human restoration. Marco stood beside me, no longer just a stepbrother, but a true partner in our mission. The same person who had once silently watched. My rejection had become a critical architect of a movement that had transformed hundreds of thousands of lives. Our relationship was a living testament to the power of understanding, of seeing beyond initial limitations. The conference hall was a visualization of our journey. Holographic displays showcased stories of veterans who had been transformed through our support systems. A veteran from Rwanda who had developed community technology centers, a former soldier from Afghanistan who had become a leading artificial intelligence researcher, a veteran from rural America who had created innovative agricultural technologies. Our latest breakthrough was revolutionary. a comprehensive neural adaptive platform that could provide personalized support for veterans across physical, mental, and professional dimensions. The technology could translate military skills into civilian opportunities, provide mental health support, and even assist with physical rehabilitation, all through an adaptive, AI-driven system. Sarah Rodriguez, now our Chief Global Innovation Officer, presented the findings. A veteran who had lost mobility in combat could now control advanced prosthetic systems with unprecedented precision. Another could receive real-time mental health support tailored to their specific experiences. Each breakthrough was a restoration of human dignity. I thought about Elena, my stepmother, who had once declared me worthless. Her narrative of limitation had been thoroughly dismantled, not through confrontation, but through consistent, meaningful achievement that extended far beyond individual success. We had created something far more significant than personal vindication. The foundation had now supported over 500,000 veterans globally. Our ecosystem went far beyond traditional support models. We provided comprehensive support, technological, training, mental health resources, economic integration, educational opportunities, personal development programs. Each success story created ripple effects that transformed entire communities. Marco shared updates about our global partnerships. We were expanding into regions that had been traditionally overlooked. Conflict zones, remote communities, areas where veterans had been marginalized. Our technology was becoming a universal language of support and empowerment. During a break, I received a message from a veteran we had supported years ago. She was now leading a global humanitarian technology initiative, using the skills and support she had received through our foundation. Each success story was a testament to the power of genuine opportunity. Our mental health division had become a global model. AI-driven support systems could provide personalized, culturally sensitive mental health resources. The technology could detect subtle linguistic and behavioral cues, offering support that traditional methods missed. The afternoon featured a special ceremony honoring veterans who had transformed their lives through our programs. Stories of resilience, of potential realized, of limitations overcome. Each narrative was a powerful reminder of our mission's impact. My father's memory continued to inspire everything we did. The foundation program established in his name had supported thousands of veteran families, helping them navigate personal and professional transitions. His final years had been filled with purpose, working alongside us to create meaningful change. The Global Veteran Support Network now spanned over 150 countries. We had fundamentally transformed how societies view veterans, not as challenges to be managed, but as critical assets with extraordinary potential. Governments, educational institutions, and corporations were adopting our holistic support models. As the conference drew to a close, I reflected on our journey. From a teenager, thrown out with 2 duffel bags, to leading a global movement that was transforming lives. The narrative arc was a testament to the power of resilience, of seeing potential where others saw only limitation. To our listeners and supporters, our story isn't just about one person's journey, it's an invitation, a call to see the extraordinary potential that exists in every individual who has been told they won't amount to anything. It's a reminder that limitations are often just narratives waiting to be rewritten. If our story has touched you, if it has inspired you, we invite you to be part of this mission. Subscribe to our channel, follow our journey, support veteran initiatives in your community. Every subscription, every share, every moment of support helps us continue transforming lives. For the veterans watching, for those who have felt discarded, overlooked, or limited, this is your reminder. Your experiences are not your limitations, they are the foundation of your extraordinary potential. Your story is still being written. To Marco, to Sarah, to every veteran we've supported, to every person who believed in our mission, thank you. Our journey continues, one story at a time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ring the notification bell. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, because every story of transformation has the power to change the world.